Oh my gosh. Okay. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Okay, that took a bit. There was a little bit of some what you call it? Some housekeeping that needed to be done. It was frickin' technical difficulties. There you go. I'm having trouble even forming the words. Gosh darn it. Here we are. We're going to be playing Enshrouded. I'm just doing some building, really. There's nothing exciting happening in Enshrouded today. That's why I kind of wanted to open it up for a discussion. That discussion is, can you prove that God exists? Can you? Can you prove it? I don't think you can. Happy to have people join and say what's up and all that. This is an open discussion sort of thing. You know. Getting ready. Helmet, I hope you're doing well. Just finishing putting these hashtags together. All right. For some reason the vertical made it onto the horizontal, which is whatever. I don't really care about that. It's you know, it's playing, we are streaming, it's all going well. That's really all that matters at this point. And I feel pretty good about it. Feel pretty good. All right. Let me switch back to this wise. Hang on there. Put this there. Put this here. All right. Feel free to say hi if you're just joining. If you've never been here before, my name is Goose, and hello, hi. I think since the vertical is over there, we'll just move me back to normal position here. Let's see if this can be moved. It can indeed be moved. And we will expand it. There we go. And then we will make that read the right thing. Can you prove God exists? Can you prove that the big G, the old Yashawashamem, as people try to make up names for him, Yashawashamem, Shamasha Lasha, Washa Yahala, Shabala Katana, Katana Blade, Sonya Blade. Free associating again. Anywho, hi, I'm Goose. I've moved my camera. I should probably move it back to the original position. It looked pretty good there. I like being able to see all the VHSs behind me. That was entertaining to me. There. All right, so here we are today. Hi. I mean, I could do a million things from a checkout or check-in, checkout, check-in, checkout. But I don't really feel like anything's like super pressing. Didn't have, you know, too crazy of a day yesterday. Didn't have too boring of a day. It was just kind of in between. Status quo, I'd say. It's about as much as you can hope for on any given day. Oh, my Stream Element spot is running. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Stream Element spot. Tried to make an appointment with the Veterans Administration for an eye exam. After 2 months, they finally contacted me today. My appointment is 3.5 hours away in Nashville. Eee, God. Wow, that sucks. I would not be happy to be doing that. All right. Well, if you feel like you can prove that God exists, I'm happy to hear it. You know, I'm excited. I'm excited for the discussion to get going. All right. So feel free to just testify, I guess. Is that the right word? Let me get more water. I will BRB. I'm also going to grab a granola bar. I will be right back. I gotta pause the game. All right. Yeah, I'd cancel if I were you too. Jesus. I bet some people pop in with beliefs they feel are true and justified. Well, I'm hoping. I mean, I'm. It says open discussion. You know, I'm hoping that we can, you know, get some people in here who have strong faith, who can tell me where I can find proof that God exists. I'm happy to look at anything but the Bible. I mean, I'm happy to pull up the Bible. If you want to go Bible for verse, we can do that, but you ain't gonna like it. If you are able to prove that God is real, just from the Bible alone, then you're also gonna have to prove that he's good, because you'd have to kind of defend that at that point. Because if the God of the Bible is real, he's not a very good person, guy, entity, thing, you know, whatever. And I'd have to wonder why you follow him then, you know? So we're going to hope and get a little bit of, you know, some kind of answer, some kind of something, you know? Hopefully there's not just nobody with an opinion. The true clickbait. That's, you know, the reverse psychology is kind of, it's very fun. No, not you, Suri. No shit, I didn't say anything to you. Stop. I don't know how to deactivate it. How do I do technology? How do I technology? You know? How do I technology? Is it a thing? Is it a trigger that you turn on, that you, or a switch that you flip on that makes you all of a sudden able to work technology? It's magic to me. Might as well be anyway. So we're playing Enshrouded. If you haven't seen this game, it's fun. It's really just a very simple crafting survival game where you can be either, you know, a martial type person, or you can be a magical type person. You can do fun stuff. You can run around. You can glide. It's kind of like Breath of the Wild meets Ark, except there's no dinosaurs. So I guess it's not really like Ark. It's grindy, so it's kind of like that, but yeah. I don't really know where I want the storage area to be. I'm thinking maybe the attic. Might be a good place for storage. You know, the other thing that I really wanted to do was have string on me so that I can make a crafting table. So, you know, the map of the game's pretty big. It's kind of like, you know, run-of-the-mill. Like, you've seen a million games like it before, you know? There's a big spire in the distance with a sky laser, as is par for the course. So you can fast travel, obviously, and it is probably the best way to get around, unfortunately. This is my original house. It's okay, but it could be better. I started to build a bigger one. But I don't think we're going to continue with this. I'm probably just going to break it down and build a new one at the new site that I am. I kind of commandeered some ruins. The sky laser, I think, just serves as a sky laser. I think it just kind of hangs out. I mean, I can go there too. I can fast travel there too. pretty strange. Want to turn this music down a little bit. It is extremely loud. There. And the game volume was extremely low, which is why that had to change. Settings, sound. Master Shake volume. So I can be up in here, and I think I could build up here if I wanted to. If I put an altar of flame in here. I don't have one, so I mean, I haven't built one recently, so I don't know for sure, but I think you can build pretty much anywhere as long as there's an altar of flame nearby. And you can't see it, but my house, where's my house? My house is, my original house, I think is over there. It's like that direction as the crow flies. So my house would be like right there. But you can't see it because it's nighttime. It's nighttime. And then my other house, the one that I'm building, is that way. I'm trying to get more central to the map. And then there was also like a lake down there that I kind of like the look of. So I don't know, more scenic, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the sky laser does anything. It's just here as part of like an introductory quest. You gotta kind of attune with this tower, I think. You must attune with the tower. I keep thinking that getting out of the window is gonna be what helps me, but it ain't. So yeah, we wanna travel back to the first original house so that I can get more supplies. I gotta build. I think I'm just gonna move shit. I was gonna keep this here, but I think I'm just gonna move shit. I think I'm just gonna move everything, and I'll dismantle the sacred flame. So yeah, it'll be a bit of a process. That's why, you know, that's why we're doing more of a God-centric, more of a religious discussion type thing, because this is all going to be pretty boring, and I can acknowledge that. So, you know, I'd much rather that we have something to talk about than just kind of have you watch me just frickin' move shit. You know, I'm trying to think about the experience as a whole. And then I can probably put the thing down here. The crates or whatever. The chests. Or on top, I guess, right? No. That would be crazy. He's not gonna do that. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. Who knows? If you do come in to hang out and you're confused by the fact that we're playing a video game and talking about God, maybe stick around for a bit and you know, just chill and hang out, and you know, the whole purpose behind everything will reveal itself, right? Isn't that what the people in the Bible say, or people of the Bible say? That the purpose will reveal itself, I think, is the big thing. A big thing. Oh, I should have put stuff in the chest. I forgot that's exactly why I wanted to move the chest. Ay. You know, don't let anyone ever say that I'm not at least a little bit forgetful. At least a little bit. So what I also wanted to do was bring up... God damn it. I wanted to bring up some of those... here's some proofs that God exists. You know, I want to bring up some of those and see if we can't give ourselves a few guffaws. At least a couple guffaws, you know? A healthy guffaw and maybe a chortle or two. What do you think of that? All right, we're gonna look at proof God exists, right? See, you wanna introduce the concept.
Can you prove to me God exists?
No, let's hold off on that for a second. Damn, girl. You needs to chill. All in due time, my precious. Okay. So we don't want that guy proving that God exists. Ugh. Ugh. Won't let me sort by frickin' date. Upload date. What? Did they remove that? Weird. I'm trying to sort by date, but it won't let me. That's very strange.
Did you know that God's name?
Dear God. Dear God. Dear Gorilla Grodd. Alright, let me turn on the browser. There we go. And widen that. Put that there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the horizontal or in the vertical view. You're gonna have to add it. Bam. Perfect. Okay. I'll just put it at the top here so you can see what I'm looking at, but it's not necessarily going to be encroaching on the thing itself, you know? We can actually do this. There we go. It blocks my old visage. There. Do it like that. That looks good. I like it. Perfect. All right. She was about to say, did you know that God's name is in our DNA? Let's find out.
Is encrypted in our DNA? Well, scientists have found that the nucleic acid of our DNA is actually imprinted with 4 Hebrew letters. Those Hebrew letters are your head.
Okay, I'm gonna have to say automatically no. Scientists did not find a nucleotide or whatever the fuck she's saying. That's not a thing.
Is encrypted in our DNA? Well, scientists have found that the nucleic acid of our DNA is actually...
What? I mean, isn't deoxyribonucleic acid just the full name of DNA? And then what was the other one? Deoxyribonucleic acid. No, deoxynucleic DNA. Deoxynucleic acid and ribodeoxynucleic acid. Is that right? I don't quite remember. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Let's type it in and see if maybe that's a thing. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna guess no. Yeah. So it's like when you do like the Bible code stuff, you know? Oh man. That's crazy. I don't know how to break this to you religious people, but Yahweh is not inscribed in our DNA. We made up the word DNA. We made up what we see when we look at DNA. Like we said those things. We spoke the meaning of DNA into existence. Like I don't I don't see how that's a thing, but you know, I could be mistaken. Where did the name come from? Look up the etymology. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We made up the name DNA. And they're not saying that it's inscribed in the name DNA. They're saying that it's inscribed in our DNA. They said that scientists have found that, by the way, welcome, Lapo Kinanas? Lapo Kinanas?
Imprinted with 4 Hebrew letters. Those
That our
Hebrew
DNA
letters
is.
are
That the DNA is imprinted.
Well, scientists have found that the nucleic acid of our DNA is actually imprinted with 4 Hebrew letters. Those Hebrew letters are Yahweh, which means the name of God. That is the actual name of God.
Well, maybe she's saying those individually, but Yahweh is not the name of God. It's supposed to be Yahweh, isn't it? DNA. I'm only looking it up because you asked me to. It is deoxyribo. I did it right the first time. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Where does it not say? It doesn't say? Yep, doesn't say. So all it says is that it's an abbreviation of deoxyribonucleic acid. Maybe I'll take a look at, because okay, from what I understand of reading the word deoxyribonucleic acid means deoxy, so like less than oxygen, ribo, it's like ribo. Okay, I don't know that one. Ribo, because there's a chemical called riboflavin, right? And it's found in food products. I'm trying to remember what that could even be. But maybe it's not ribo. Maybe it's deoxyribo. I don't know. But there's no name of God in here. There's no name. There's no God. And it's certainly not in our actual DNA, because you can't prove that.
This tells us that God's name is actually imprinted in each of our DNA, proving that God is real.
I think this person has probably had a stroke, and maybe that's why they're talking this nonsense. I don't know.
I'm about to show you.
Does that happen when you have a stroke? Do you forget reality? I think so. It damages your brain cells, right? Like it forms lesions on your brain, doesn't it?
Absolute proof that God is real.
Oh, he said absolute proof. So get ready. This is absolute proof, guys. We're about to finally stumble upon the true proof, the absolute true proof that God is real. This is a moment in history. This guy uploaded it as a short. But don't worry, I'll give it the platform it deserves. This is an important moment in history. Let's all gather together, gather round the flame. I was gonna unpause the game for poignancy. Let's all gather around the flame. Oh, I can double jump, by the way. That's a skill you can obtain, and I massively underestimated the skill tree. I thought it wasn't going to help me with any of the survival aspects. It does. Like, there's a ton. Yeah. Let's all gather around the flame. Let's learn about God. Let's learn about the absolute proof that God is real. Let's learn about it. All right? Let's be real. Real do it. Let's be real do it. That's not a word. Oh, those aren't words. I think it's going to be educational. I think it's going to be very, very good. And I think we're going to learn a lot. So shut up! And let's listen to the absolute proof that God is real. Okay, he's about to say it. Let's find out.
And the Bible is true. The Saudi Arabian government has finally allowed people to take pictures of the true Mount Sinai.
Okay. Let's see what else he has to say.
The place where God came down in a fire and appeared to Moses, according to Exodus chapter 19, verse...
In a book. According to a book that people wrote. So there's a real place, because people often mirror reality when they write things, especially allegories, especially historic events. So of course it would be a real place. Do they think that atheists are trying to say that the places in the Bible don't exist? I don't think that was anyone's argument. I'm pretty sure that most atheists are not going around saying Mount Ararat doesn't exist, or the Megiddo Valley doesn't exist, or Jerusalem doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure that most atheists at least have learned some amount of geography. Very, very strange.
It's 18. So here it is. You can literally see the top of the mountain is burnt. And right next to the mountain...
How do you know that any of that thing that you're seeing is the thing that you're saying it is? Did you go there? You can take pictures. You can see it on Google Maps. And his whole thing is, you can literally see the top of the mountain. It looks burnt. Therefore, God is real. Do you not need more than that to be convinced of something?
Mountain is this rock right here that's split in half. The very rock that...
Oh, I remember. I reacted to this before. I don't get it. I don't understand why you would think that this is a thing. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
This really happened. God...
But you can't say it really happened when you don't yourself have proof. All you did was show a picture of a rock and a picture of a mountaintop. Not to mention that there are black sand beaches. There are black, waters, black oceans, or seas, I guess. He was the mountain. What the fuck are you talking about? Did God ever say he was the mountain?
Why do I believe in Christ? I can't prove...
You're right. You cannot prove that God exists. I think that's kind of, just sort of what I'm hoping that people might offer. God doesn't, I can't prove that God exists. I just have faith. That would be such an honest answer. I would be so happy to hear something like that, but it's the inconsistency and it's the holier than thou thing that really kind of puts me off to the whole thing. But maybe we'll find out stuff that I didn't know before. You were grafted into the rock and the mountaintop? God is the mountain. You're going to have to explain that just a little bit more. Is that in the Bible somewhere, that God was the rock? That's Mount Sinai, right? Sinai. How do you spell that? Sinai. God was Mount Sinai. Bible passage. How does God prove he exists? He can't prove he exists. Pray for something right now. Pray for me to get a hamburger. Or pray for I don't know, fucking some big lofty thing that he might be more inclined to fulfill. And I'll show you, just by sheer virtue of nothing changing, that you can't prove he exists. Nor can he. If a being that doesn't exist can prove that he exists, I'm gonna have to call foul on that one. I'll cry. What? I don't... Okay. Detail the mountain shaking, smoke rising, and God calling Moses to the summit. So he descends. It appears that he descends from the sky. Lord descended. You love seeking him. Well, no, I love trying to present people with the idea that maybe he might not exist. I find that quite entertaining. On the first day of the 3rd month after the Israelites left Egypt, on that very day they came to the desert of Sinai. After they set out from Rephidim, they entered the desert of Sinai, and Israel camped there in the desert in front of the mountain. We are chin, my kin, I, and him. You really are just speaking gibberish, aren't you? Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called him from the mountain. So the Lord called to him from the mountain, which means it probably wasn't the mountain. You yourself, blah, blah, blah. He's, all the earth is mine. Where to speak to the Israelites. So Moses went back up and summoned the elders, set before them the word of the Lord. So the Lord said to Moses, I'm going to come to you in a dense cloud. So he's, again, not the mountain. And the Lord said to Moses, go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow. Have them wash their clothes, be ready by the third day. Still not the mountain. He still has not become the mountain. Put limits for people around the mountain. Nope, he's not talking to himself as the mountain here. Be careful that you do not approach the mountain. He didn't say me. He said don't approach the mountain. Whoever touches the mountain, not me, the mountain, is to be laid on them. No person or animal should be permitted to live. When they approach the mountain, he didn't say me. He said the mountain. So, I mean, I'm reading you your book. Moses went up, go down. Nope. He didn't say that he was the mountain. And nope. Where do you see that he was the mountain? Are you stupid? Because this is your book. I'm asking, not telling. I would never suggest that you're stupid. I'm asking if you are, because I don't want to insult you by trying to entertain your points. If you're unhinged or if you're like uneducated or something like that, I don't want to punch down too badly. Logical proof of God's existence. No, that was the smartest man in the world, remember? I found every verse that proves God is the devil.
Here's the moment everything went off the rails.
Check this.
This girl surprised everyone. She wanted to prove that God exists, so she wrote the word God in the sand. And watch what happens right after she writes it. If you believe in God, leave a like. The water stopped before it could erase the word, but when she erased it herself, the water immediately came back to her feet. And now tell me, how many times did I say God in this video?
Jesus fucking Christ. God forbid. See what I did there? That, you might take a look at where the water comes up, decide maybe you're going to do this thing that proves that God is real. It's always ironic how every time someone who believes in God tries to prove them that he's real, they have to fake something. Doesn't that tell you something? But so, I mean, God forbid you take a step forward or take a step backward when you see where the water ends, because you know that there are such things as tides, and then write God there, and then erase it, and then take a step forward. Or I have a feeling this was just edited to look like that. It's not even like someone actually did something that resulted in not proving that God is real. You can't prove magic with magic. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Here's a big question. Is God real? If you
that's a big question.
Pure reasoning, you might miss the evidence of God that's happening directly in front of your eyes.
What is it?
In the Bible, there's a story of a paralyzed man. And he's
in the Bible!
Jesus, and Jesus
You're saying something that happened in the Bible. You're not actually saying anything that happened in real life.
He gets up and walks, no longer paralyzed. But the religious leaders of the day say to Jesus,
my God,
how can you forgive sins? The Bible says that only God can forgive sins. They focused on what he said, not what happened. And Jesus says to them, which one's harder, to forgive the sin of man or to make this man walk? The lesson for you is this. When you try academically to reason your way logically to if God is real, it's difficult.
Oh, so you think using word fucking salad is the way that you prove your point? What a weirdo, dude. Like this... I can prove to you that God is real, just let me read the Bible. You cannot be more idiotic than that.
Difficult to do. But when you dive into the context of Scripture and start to immerse yourself in Scripture, you start to notice things
crazy.
And
I don't like saying the word crazy when in reference to people, but this is crazy.
We built guidelayer.com so that you can ask the Bible.
Oh, and now he's gonna hawk his fucking app. Can you believe that? It's always something. It's always, you gotta fake something. It's always, you're gonna sell something in order to, let people have more faith somehow, or be closer to God or whatever. Like, it's always something. It's always some grift. It's always some kind of like cheaty fucking like bullshit thing that like they're trying to pull some kind of wool over your eyes. It's insane. It is just insane. And you know, that's I guess that's why we're here, you know? Why we're here talking about it. Crazy. Just crazy. Like, you don't have to be gullible, and people are just choosing to be. It's crazy. So yeah, I guess if you want to figure out if God's real, download this app.
Enoch,
Can't make that
the
shit
man
up.
who walked with God and was not, for God took him. Genesis 5:24. In the book of Enoch, he tells us,
Which doesn't exist, by the way.
I saw the storehouses of all the stars of heaven, the ends of the earth, and the great
You're just making up things from a book that doesn't exist.
portals of the heavens. 1 Enoch 33:2. Through these portals, Enoch didn't just watch, he traveled.
Jesus. So, not only is it bad enough that we have people who are trying to prove the Bible with the Bible, but now we have people who are, like, attributing meaning to a thing that never existed, which is the Book of Enoch. That's where they talk about Nephilim and giants and all that kind of stuff. It's not a thing. I mean, it is a thing, but it's not a reliable thing. It's not a trustworthy thing. It's like it's not enough that you guys have to go around like spreading your religion, but also like some of you are just so dissatisfied with the degree of religion, or at least with the specifics or the particulars, that you have to make up more stuff for that religion? Seems back-assward, but if anyone wants to prove that God exists, you're more than welcome to try.
And God's...
I'm gonna guarantee you that AI is not gonna be what proves that God exists. It certainly ain't gonna be AI slop.
saw that the light was good.
And God divided the light from the darkness.
I love that over time, people have kind of started to acknowledge that there's no scientific way that you could ever imagine that Jesus was a white man. And so now, like, it's so funny. If you look at, you know, like the progression of Jesus's depictions throughout history, he's like when he gets whitewashed, he starts looking like Michael Jackson, and then he starts getting more and more and more melanin in his skin. And now, like, now he kind of looks Middle Eastern, still a bit, I would say,
light day,
Nordic
darkness
in the face.
And the evening and the morning.
But at least he's got melanin and dark hair. You know, we're getting started. We're started on the way to what Jesus probably really looked like. But we got a ways to go still.
We have to realize the significance.
If you put anything next to, like, majestic music, you can make it sound important.
Of what we're looking at here with this.
What we're looking at here.
This is evidence. And
This is evidence.
Makes about him. He is the image of the invisible God, and all things were made through him and for him.
What?
The Bible is littered with this play on words, image, face, light and knowledge, all points.
Is that supposed to be God?
The invisible God.
What? Is that supposed to be God? Even if you don't discount this from pareidolia, this could just be a mosaic featuring it. Like if you took separate because it looks like, what I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, I've never heard of whatever it is he's presenting, but what I'm assuming, a Shroud of Turin. I get it. Okay. So this is a mosaic of the pictures that they took when they cataloged the Shroud of Turin. And we don't even know, I don't know if it's been substantiated, but as far as I was aware, they haven't been able to prove the validity of the so-called Shroud of Turin, nor were they ever able to prove who was underneath the Shroud of Turin. So, and help me, if I'm making a mistake here, link me the article where I can find that they conclusively proved that the Shroud of Turin really does include Jesus's DNA, or they were able to carbon date it, and it was exactly when they, you know, Jesus was in the area or something like that. I'm happy to take a look at it, but as far as I remember, unsubstantiated. And it's always funny how, like, whenever someone says, well, scientists and archaeologists and stuff like that, they have found absolute proof that God is real. And I say, well, where is it? And they're like, well, like the Ark of the Covenant, Mount Ararat, Mount Sinai. No specific examples, nor any scientific studies have been linked. But also, it's just like, well, yeah, I mean, you just got to believe what they wrote in the Bible, man. It's all right there in the Bible, I don't know. And it's like you throw your hands in the air, and it's like, well, I don't have to explain anything to you. I have faith. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to say. If you're working on faith alone, you're working with half a deck. You're not going to be very productive. But so with the, pretty sure it dated to the Middle Ages. Yeah, like 800 years ago, until the church stopped all scientific investigation. And so, to my understanding, how they cataloged it was they took a series of pictures and then tried to fit them all together like a puzzle. And it's kind of how they suggest that we are like putting dinosaurs together. It's kind of that same sort of thing, like where, oh, they don't really know where these bones go. They're just guessing. It's not like we have a wealth of biological and fossil information that tells us exactly where the bones go or anything. But you put it together and then you kind of like interpret what you think it looks like. That's and if it leads you to believe that you're seeing something that's not there, because there was a body apparently underneath this thing, and it left an impression. Like when bodies break down, they leach chemicals outside of them that stain things. It's pretty gross, but that's a process that happens when our body breaks down after we die. And so the oils that come out when proteins are broken down, they can stain things and make it look, like the person who was underneath. But there is no substantial evidence that it was anyone of note, let alone Jesus. There's no substantial evidence that just because this thing exists, that it is in any way an indication that God exists. And lastly, they can't even prove that it exists. Where's any updates? Where's any ongoing investigation? There isn't. Why is the music silent? The music went silent again. Ay, ay, ay. Where's the no copyright stuff? If you can prove that God exists, I'd be happy to entertain whatever you'd like to say about it. I haven't yet found it, but willing to see the proof. You just gotta provide it. And there we go. That's all there is to it. It's very simple. Very simple. Has a lot of red pigment painted on it. Yeah, I mean, regardless of any of the stuff that I've seen coming out about the Shroud of Turin, it has not conclusively proven to me anything. So I don't know. Yeah, I know. Funny how we have all the examples of people faking evidence, but no examples of real evidence. That's exactly my point.
If the screen shakes with...
Hey, TK Breaks Rules, how's it going?
If you skip this video without using my audio...
Now, see, it's going back to my algorithm. I hate when it does that.
Salve Maria. Understanding that God exists is actually quite simple. Let's take, for instance, this stone. By itself, it can't move. It needs something else to move it. And that happens with everything else.
The whole creation requires a creator argument. What's up, Caspian Conrad?
Now.
Yeah, go ahead, TK. What's your proof that God exists? What's your proof, sir? Offer it up. Why'd the music stop again? What? Oh, because I muted it? What? If you think you can prove God's existence, I'm happy to hear it. Give it your best. Give it your best shout. And we can see if I end up convinced. Can we live chat or do I have to text? Yeah, you can. Let me see if my Discord's open. The Discord. And then... Nope. Let me copy the link. Put that in there. It is now in the chat. So join and I'll bring you into the channel. But, I mean, I hope you're ready to prove that God exists, because, you know, it hasn't happened yet. And if you use the Bible to prove that he exists, you're gonna have to prove that he's good. Because typically, that ain't a thing. While I'm waiting for you to join, I'm going to go ahead and get the customary inaugural bowl started. As is the custom for this channel. If you are also a cannabis... I'm excited to hear some actual proof. So am I, Helmet. If you're a user of, you know, smoked things, then feel free to build one as well. I'll let you know when I'm about to light her up. And we will then cheers. And so while I'm waiting for you, TK, I will have the face cam off. Don't worry, I am not dead. I promise. I promise I have not died. Not yet, anyway. Maybe someday. Just because you got to, you know, for the TOS, you got to keep your face cam off if you're about to smash a big old bongy bowl. And you got to say silly stuff to talk about it. Which is, you know. Oh, okay. Then allow me to give you a new link. What? I don't want to edit the channel. Invite to voice. Expire never. No max number of views. Okay. I'm generating a new link. And I will then put that in there. Try that one. It should be in on my account page if you absolutely can't find the thing. I think I put a permanent Discord link there. For some reason, Discord does not like to keep the links permanent. I don't really know how to fix that. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. So give me one moment. I see you there. You are in the Discord. I see you. Let me get this bowl constructed. Let me hit it, because I don't want to interrupt you while you're talking. So I'm going to do the ablutions now, so that we can just let you be uninterrupted as you present your proof of God's existence. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. We're in the same boat, apparently, so good. Perfect. Alright, let me pack this down. It's a small one right now. I want to be able to give you my undivided attention. Alright. Alright, and cheers. Smoke them if you got them. And if you don't got them, then I guess imagine smoking them. One moment. All right. That's how you get the day. I was gonna say that's how you come out the gate, and then I was gonna say that's how you get the day started, and my brain hiccuped, and I was about to say that's how you get the gay started. Ooh, oh my! Didn't expect to be turned on so much during my live stream. All right, tell me when you're ready, and I will bring you up into the channel, and then you can start your engines, I guess. If that's what we say in the situation. I don't think we say start your engines. Gentlemen, start your engines. Vroom. Vroom, vroom. Lapo, what do you mean, well, knucklehead? Were you about to explain something, or were you just talking? Were you just chilling? Were you just hanging out and just saying stuff? Because it sounded like it sounded like you were going to start to say something, but then you didn't. And I'll actually go pee real quick before we talk, so again, I won't have to get up or do anything. Hiya! I'm gonna be quick. I'm gonna be real quick. Be real quick. Alright. And I'm back. And I'm here and I'm back. Alright, let me know when you're ready, TK. Let me know. Give me a holler. A hoot and a holler. A hoot and nanny, even. And we'll get you in here. I had to pee. I pee quick. I'm not one of those 10-minute peers. I'm a 0-minute peer. Oh yeah, that's fine. Just give us a shout when you're ready, and I'll keep playing that video, I think. All right, we did it. I got my medicine, and I got my my stuff set up, or my pee out of my bladder, and now here we are, all ready to take on the rest of the day. You know, it's the small things it's the small victories, I guess, that you got to be really happy about.
If there wasn't a first mover moved by no one else, then there will be no motion. But since there is motion, there is a first mover.
So that's called the infinite regression argument, but it's also he's also taking things from the watchmaker thing, like that design has to have a designer. I mean, it doesn't. And it could be Yaldabaoth, it could be Odin, for all we know. You know, we don't just know that it's God. And even then, I think if it's a pantheon of God, we have to call it little g's. You know, we gotta call them like demigods, or I don't know how you would compare them if you were to accept that they were real along with the Christian God. I think it would end up looking like the frickin' the Marvel comics, where like God is there, like God and Jesus are there. I don't think that they get mentioned very often, and I think it's kind of a taboo thing for them to be in there, I guess. I'm not sure. I know that I forget who was religious, if it was Jack Kirby or if it was Stan Lee. But one of those like grandfathers of, you know, the comics was religious, and so they put religious themes in their stuff. DC is heavy with the religious stuff. God absolutely exists in the DC universe, and the one that's like, what's his name? The Presence. Like, he is the Abrahamic God. And there's even, I think there's Moses. Like, I think the whole Bible is canon to the DC universe, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while since I've read those old, like, I guess late 70s, early 80s comics. But yeah. Pretty crazy. I don't think that I took my allergy pill today, but it is... My sinuses are bumping. Bumping, that's a term the kids are using these days. I don't know if you guys knew that. But, you know, if you want to be cool, you got to use the language that the kids are using. You know? And the kids will tell you what's cool. If you just walk up to a group of kids and you say, hey, kids, what's cool these days? They'll tell you. They might not tell you the truth, but they'll tell you. Oh, yeah. They'll tell you. They'll tell you real good. I remember when I was a teenager, those Jinko jeans, the big wide-legged jeans, those were like really popular, and now they're getting popular again. Why did I get that old? Why did the gods, whichever one is real, why did they let me get that old? You know, that doesn't seem fair. That doesn't seem very nice. All right? So that I could see the trends that I was into when I was a kid becoming popular because the circular thing, circular, holy fuck. Cyclical. Don't know where that came from. I guess my brain was scrambled, you know, for that single moment.
And that first mover is God.
Right. You don't need to have a first anything. I think releasing yourself from that chain is probably the first big step towards deconstruction. Like, why do you need to know, like, why do you need to have an idea of who started the universe? Why can't you just live your life in a balanced and healthy manner? And if you can't figure out your shit, like if you can't figure out your psychological problems, and religion isn't helping, just go to therapy. People in your religion are probably going to say, well, therapy, oh, that's the devil's work. So? You need it. It's a medical field. If you go to the chiropractor, which is a bunch of fucking quacks anyway, if you go to the chiropractor, then you're already paying a snake oil salesman to keep you coming back. You know? So you might as well go to therapy if you think that that's quackery. Gosh darn it. So there. Okay, you're ready. All right. When I bring you in, you'll pretty much have the floor. You can you know, give us, if you want me to like find a video or something like a link or something like that, then we can do that. But you know, I'm pretty much only gonna just ask a little bit about you and then let you kind of rip. All right. I'm gonna bring you up now. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, probably not. Oh no, yeah, Windows default. Okay, talk for me real quick.
Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Let me turn you up. Talk once more, please.
Hello.
All right. Is there any way that you can turn yourself up on your end, or I can just turn this music down too?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I think I can hear you now. If you're in the chat and you are able to hear well, just let me know, or if there's any problems, let me know. But yeah, so state your name. I know you only as TK, but say your name if you want.
Works.
Okay, cool. And then just tell me a little bit about your religion, which God we're talking about here.
Christianity.
Okay, cool. And then, yeah, go ahead. I'm ready to hear the most convincing argument that God exists.
Nice. What do you like questions, or do you get annoyed at like.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll try to answer any questions you have as best as I can.
Okay. I'm trying to give you a viewer. Let me just try to get it to like 5% volume.
Thanks for letting me know, Caspian. I appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, so first, I want to just ask, what do you think about philosophy in general?
I think it's useful in a conceptual, like, debate space, but I think, like, the average everyday person doesn't use philosophy to determine whether or not something's real. We just kind of either see it or we don't. We conceive of it or we don't.
Yeah, there's just like a general common sense kind of thing going on. Like that's most people's philosophy is like you just take face value stuff.
Well, I think it gets so I think the problem with discussing things in a philosophical nature when it comes to God or religion is that you get too caught up in like really, really minute details. And like I said before, I think that the average everyday person is just kind of like me. Like that like the reason I'm doing the live stream in the first place is because I think to myself, I don't have any convincing proof that God exists. I want to put the question out there and see, you know, if we can start an interesting discussion about it. So like I think the reason why I say philosophy is not necessarily that productive for it is because you get too wrapped up in like the meaning behind one specific word, you know, how you interpret things. And I think as a Christian, you might agree that there's dozens and dozens and dozens of denominations of Christianity, and even within those sects of one umbrella religion, there are a bunch of opposing opinions on specific interpretations. You know what I mean? So like, if we get too deep into that, we're just going to get lost in the sauce. And I like to keep the overall topic a little bit more surface level. So you can use philosophy if you'd like. But if I get lost, then other viewers are going to get lost. So I'll try to pull you back if that happens.
Yeah, I was just planning to argue from, not from religion specifically.
You're going to appeal to comments or to I'm assuming.
For the face of God.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, just present whatever you want. See if I can wrap my head around it.
Well, here's the thing. So, if I try to prove it, you basically have to go by like certain rules in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you can weasel your way out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I wouldn't try to approach this thinking that I'm going to try to weasel my way out of anything. Like it seems like you're getting defensive before the need to get defensive. You're trying to put out a fire before it exists. But I just want to hear an argument about God, you know?
Yeah. Well, the thing is like I could just tell you why I believe.
Do it.
But that's not gonna be good enough. Like we're trying to prove it, right?
Right.
So,
I mean, we can always use that as a jumping off point, man. Like, you know, whatever's clever, man.
Well, so to prove it, we do have to use some philosophy.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing is that I will ask you do you believe that there is thought?
Yes.
Yeah. Bertrand Russell, famous atheist, he refuted the Descartes guy, the I think, therefore I am, right? Friedrich Nietzsche comes and he says, well, you're presupposing the I. We don't know that I exists necessarily.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then
you cannot perceive of consciousness if you are yourself observing consciousness, because you can't trust that what you're perceiving is correct.
Right. That's exactly right. Perception and memory are contingent.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah, those are the building blocks of self.
Yeah, I fully am aware of that. But that's the thing, is that the baseline is the human condition. Is that fair?
It sounds like you're about to go into infinite regression, but I'm willing to let you pull this thread.
I don't know what you mean, but...
Well, just keep going, yeah.
But let's just... Well, I'm just trying to get the foundation set.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand that there is like this baseline level of truth, which would be the human condition, that there is thought. That's what we can at least understand from our perspective. However, our perspective, like I was saying, what we perceive is contingent on the self and our memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
You accept all that?
Yep.
Okay. So Bertrand Russell expands a little bit further. He says that it's not just thought, but there's also experience, and there is perception.
Mm-hmm.
So we perceive things. So I have been working on something for the past year. I've been working on it very diligently, and I've gone through many different philosophers to come to my conclusion through philosophy, which I don't even like very much.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what you were saying earlier, how you think it's just kind of like a useful thing, but most people don't exactly use it, right?
Yeah. We don't apply philosophy to things normally. Like we don't, it's not, if we do, it's not present in our minds. It's not like, hey, I'm going to use philosophy to solve this problem of my finances. It's more so, right. I'm abiding by a philosophy that I have as one of my core values, and I'm just kind of on autopilot.
Yeah. It still exists though, like, because it's worldviews, right? Like, that's how we get science, that's how we get math. It's through philosophy.
I would say it was a jumping off point until we figured out how to do math and how to do science and things like that. But like, I feel like Hippocrates was like a contemporary as opposed to an evolution.
I don't know who Hippocrates is.
The guy who invented medicine.
Oh, okay.
The Hippocratic Oath. That's Hippocrates. He's the guy that came up with that.
I am not like, to be like have a MD in philosophy, you got to go to school for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I am a layman. I'm just somebody who
I'm also a very layman myself.
Yeah. I dabble. But I've been working on, like I said, I've been working on something pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go by the first premise that Bertrand Russell says, that there is thought, then there are things that logically follow. To have a thought is to have content. Would you agree to that?
Content? You mean like something is contained within my shell, or what do you mean?
No, it's like thought is to have something to think about.
Oh, there's got to be data there for your brain to analyze.
Yeah, that's what I mean by content.
Okay. Then yeah, I can wrap my head around that.
Okay. So, that content could not be unless there was something to think about. Do you agree to that?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I think that was the same point that you just made, wasn't it?
Not quite.
Thought is content, so that means you have to have something to think about. That means there must be something for you to have something to think about.
Exactly.
So this is what I mean by infinite regression. who did this that created the this that then created that, but then who created them and then who created that. It's sort of that, but with thought. It's like thought was around, but how did thought get there? Well, then something had to be there for the thought to be there, and so what was that? And eventually we're going to get to God. Right?
Well, don't, make my argument for me. Let me flesh it out,
Okay,
please.
sure. Yeah. I'm with you.
I'll try and be quick. I'm just, I know you want to run through it quickly.
I'm not in a hurry. I got like an hour and a half left on the stream. As long as you can fit it in that amount of time, then we're all good.
I'll do it a little faster than that, hopefully.
Okay. Good. Because that would be boring for both of us, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had this discussion a good handful of times, and it's always really difficult. I haven't had the discussion in a really long time, so I'm rusty at it. And it's complex stuff. It really is.
Hey, well, I'm willing to hear it.
So, if you really think about what you said earlier, so there's thought, then you can't have a thought unless there's content, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the content can't exist unless there is something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that forces a few things. That forces true and false. Otherwise, you say that there is no thought, there is no content to speak of, which uses true and false, which would be a contradiction. You feel me? You get what I'm saying?
Kind of. Say those bullet points again, and let me see if I can process them in real time.
Yeah. So the content implies that there is something to think about. That's true.
Got that.
That's true.
Yes.
So then true and false exist.
Yeah. How do I
not right
say what
wrong,
I'm trying to think?
True and false.
So yes, but there's a yes but. Binaries are a thing, and there are far ends of each spectrum. So between yes and no, between true and false, there's like a million potential things in between, and we kind of have to decide what the goal or what the ends look like, what the extreme ends of the spectrum look like. So yeah, it's hard to explain what comes to mind when you say that, but I don't personally believe that absolutes I don't personally believe that it's easy to determine absolutes when thinking about something high concept like this, but I'm still with you.
Okay. Me and most people, and I think you would agree that, and earlier you said, our perception is contingent. I would say, and this is where most people agree, is that the way in which we describe things is not an exact representation of the world around us. It just tries to understand, and we use language, we use our words to try and communicate what the world around us is giving us. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So in the human condition, it's true that the clock that I'm looking at is there. It's not wishy-washy. I get what you're saying, how there's like this scale, but that's under semantics, right? Like if we look into the world of semantics,
on what's real and what's not real, like it's dependent. Is that what you're saying? Like the meaning of things is just completely subjective. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you get into semantics, you can end up with contradictions. Like this sentence is false.
Yeah.
Right? But that's actually not representative of true reality.
Well, yeah, because my intention was to essentially tell a paradox. So if we can inject intent into that, if we know that that person's intent was that, then they were being dishonest, and so therefore the sentence is itself false in its premise. Therefore, the whatever contents the sentence had is irrelevant, because the person's intent was to deceive and yada yada yada.
Right. Like sounds like you understand paradoxes versus like true contradictions.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's what I was trying to say. Like, I know that there are absolutes, but I know that it's all contained in a gigantic gray area.
But don't you? Well, do you think? And because this is where most people would agree with me, is that in the semantics, sure, but in reality, no.
I don't think we know that, honestly. I don't think that we can really determine that. I don't think there's any way that we know whether absolutes exist or not. I think all we can do, just because I'm not a religious person, to my eye, all we can do is really observe ourselves throughout time, observe history, observe nature, and try to make the best educated guess we can based on the trends that we see in history over time and over our catalog of evolution.
Sure, but again, I'm going off of the human condition.
Yeah, can you describe that a little more? I'm not quite certain.
Yeah, the human condition is like that's admitting we have contingencies. That's admitting that there is like this realm of, well, we can't know beyond ourselves in a certain extent.
So yeah, so what you mean is that our consciousness is limited, or our perception's limited. Like that's the human condition.
Yeah, it's like if we grant that there is thought, then there are things that do actually logically follow, and we can build off of that. Like that's the premise, but you can deny that premise. There are escape routes, but the escape routes are like, well, there is no thought, there is no actual intelligibility. It could be true that facts actually don't exist, and if that's the case, then the world around us is unintelligible. Like that would
people
mean
could argue that, absolutely.
Right, they can, but then the problem with that is that they're allowing for contradictions to exist, and they themselves use a contradiction, right, to make that argument. It's like, well, I'm using logic to say there is no logic, right? But back to like what we were saying earlier, how like there's like a certain level of like common sense. We don't use philosophy in the day-to-day to like how you're using it right now. Like I'm kind of just coming from like this common sense kind of angle.
Well, I think if I'm trying to just use common sense in response to the points that you've made, I would ask how it's even possible, how it's physically possible that someone could choose not to be religious. I think what it seems like you're doing, and I hope that I'm right, but I'll let you get there. But what I'm hoping that you're doing is that you're going to say that like there's no way that we can't not believe in God. That was a double negative. There's no way that we can deny that God exists. And just because, that's what it seems like the train of thought is here. Yeah. Right? Is that no?
Yeah, like you're not the way the argument I have goes is you're gonna hate the conclusion. You're gonna hate it. I know you're gonna hate it. Every atheist I've talked to gets very frustrated because it's a trap. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. It is a
takes
trap.
A lot to make me frustrated.
Well, they typically will hate the conclusion, but they hopefully will see that using the common sense and under like the direction I go, because they typically agree with the core premises, right? which you have agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad. I do, because like there is this discomfort that comes with it. But so coming from where we were, there is something similar to the principle of sufficient reason that is then awakened because of the those premises I just went through. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's more law-like instead of just a principle. It's not exactly the law or the principle of sufficient reason, where all facts have reasons. I'm just going off of what reality offers, not the semantics of everything. Like back to what I was saying earlier, how this sentence is false, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, based on reality, the law of sufficient reason in that sense is actually law-like. You're forced into it. And then, because that's the case, you cannot have these facts without a fact maker. And
Design
that fact
requires a
maker,
designer.
Not quite, not yet. We're not there yet. The point, where we're at right now is that the fact maker is the content itself. Like the clock, that's the fact maker.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes back to the normativity. That's true under the human condition, that clock is there. Like if we accept the premise that there is thought, which you did, then it logically follows that it's true that this clock is here. I know this sounds tedious.
Or are you saying that if we agree there's a clock, we've established there's a clock?
Yeah.
We could both be wrong. Right?
Outside, but yeah, again, that's going outside the human condition, and that's abandoning logic, intelligibility, that you're invoking that uncertainty of that scale that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But
that scale exists. That's why I think where we're going to end up disagreeing is that I don't believe that there's an absolute, really anything. I don't believe in absolutes.
Right, but that's under semantics only. I'm going off of what reality offers us.
Right. You're transcending me pushing back on that by saying that no, you're not in control of even your opinion. Like there's a law that exists above you. There's a law that you can't reject, and therefore there is a God that you can't reject.
Not there yet.
Forgive me if I see the forest through the trees.
It's okay. It's okay. The laws they're imposed. Like we don't give consent.
Well, yeah,
like
we'll never know. Even you'll never know. I mean, even if there is, some kind of afterlife of some sort, regardless of whether you believe it's the one that you're going to go to, but we won't know, even if we get there, whether or not whatever we believed absolute is true. Like, we won't know. Like, nobody's ever going to know, unless God actually says it, if he's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just never going to know what at the end. Like, we're never going to know, no matter how much time passes, whether or not there is a law above us, and whether or not, the end result is God. So we can reject anything we want, which is proof that those absolutes don't exist. Because if your argument is correct, meaning like if there's a set of universal circumstances, whether they're laws or not. I mean, I think you chose carefully to not use the word law. So you said they were law-like. So I want to try and respect, what you were saying.
What's law-like?
The universal truths, like the universal, whatever these set guidelines are that you can't escape. You said that they were law-like, and
there are some laws. Like I said, they're imposed. They're imposed on the perception that we have, the human condition. Like this clock in front of me is imposed upon me. I don't get to say, I don't give consent. I can't give consent that the clock is not there. Like it's there forcedly.
Right. Well, but what I said after that was that we don't know that there's, like, we don't know that we're right. We don't know that we can trust our perception. We don't know that we're not in the Matrix.
Yeah.
We don't know that there's not a gas leak and we're just seeing things. We don't know that someone slipped some GHB into our drink and we're hallucinating. You know, we don't know any of that stuff. Like, we can agree that I didn't slip anything in your drink, you didn't slip anything in my drink, but we don't know if the bartender didn't slip anything in there. And I think, for that matter, and continue with, you know, your points, but I think, to me, if that proves anything, it proves that we don't know, or it proves that we know less than certain about what's going on. And if that's the case, there's every potential that there's even like a meaner guy out there, and God may not be as good as we think he is. So you can continue.
Well, I don't want to derail, because earlier I granted you that there is that, like, that contingency that's going to be there. And that's our perception. That's the human condition. That's our memory. That's history. Things that have happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But there is the now, and that, you know, that's what Bertrand Russell expands on. That in the now, there is experience, there is thought. That is indubitable. You don't give consent otherwise. And so, like I was saying earlier, there are things that follow. But to get out of that, to escape route that, is to abandon all intelligibility. It's to abandon that the world that you are actually perceiving is intelligible at all, when in fact it is. You do perceive the clock, you do perceive the screen, you do perceive the game, you do have thought, which you granted earlier.
Right, but at the end of the day, how do you connect that to God? To the Christian God?
So I'll just get through it quick then. So I was at, the clock is there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth maker. So what follows next is, one sec. That this clock is sustaining. So this clock isn't just blipping in and out. Otherwise, that would defeat the true and false statements earlier.
That there is a clock there. True, like, that we know that to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's sustained. We could burn it up. But what it is doesn't just get deleted. I mean, even Albert Einstein says you can't create or destroy matter. It just transforms into energy.
Mm-hmm. We are all space dust.
Yeah. I forget who said that.
Someone, I don't know. some lofty person.
Yeah. Okay, so so the necessity with what I just said with the sustaining ground must exist is that the norms can't be brute. Otherwise it violates that that LSR that I was talking about earlier. That the norms that we perceive can't be actually self-generated. So this is where it gets interesting, because the point earlier where you were saying we can't know for sure, it could be you know, where I was saying like contingencies and stuff with our human condition actually get deleted here, because, and I no longer grant that to you, because the truth maker of the clock cannot be grounded only by our mind. Because it's a norm. It's a true and false. Otherwise, it would be otherwise. Make sense?
Yes.
And to expand upon that, if you try and claim non-minds like rocks, particles, ground logic norms, then you cannot generate thoughts. They lack intentionality. They lack the normativity. And then if you say norms come from you, then sorry. Like I said, I'm rusty with this argument. It's complicated.
Before you go on with norms, do you mean like socially accepted or universally accepted norms, like just normal like human values, or like what do you mean by norms?
Something that is or something that isn't.
Okay, so yeah, so like a universal truth.
Yeah. So okay, to go on the why you can't be the thing that grounds all content. Because you yourself are contingent. To say that you ground all things forces that it would be sustaining. Agree?
Say that again.
Okay, so the point earlier that I was making is that the clock is sustaining.
Right. It hasn't glitched out of existence that we've seen.
Yeah. Exactly. But the perception, right, we earlier said was contingent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem with that is that because you're contingent, you can't actually sustain that because you're contingent.
So meaning like we're still here, and our perception that the clock is being sustained is only possible because we know that ourselves are here and being sustained. Is that correct?
I didn't track.
So the only reason that we're here talking about a clock and it's here and it's sustained is because we ourselves are contingent upon ourselves being sustained. Otherwise, we can't be here to perceive the clock.
No.
Okay.
I'll try and do it again. Okay, so us ourselves cannot be the thing that sustains the clock.
Okay, yes.
Because
so us looking at the clock isn't the reason the clock's there. The clock's there because the clock's there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, to say something contingent is what grounds the clock is a contradiction.
In what way?
Because saying that something that is contingent sustains is itself like a performative contradiction. It's like saying something that's changing is making something not change.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, moving on from that. Okay. So, otherness necessarily exists physically.
Otherness?
So not just metaphysically, not just in our brain, okay? That in reality, in the arena of reality, it genuinely exists.
Otherness like tribalism?
The clock.
Oh, okay.
So the clock genuinely exists.
I mean, I guess if I'm agreeing with you for all of this, then yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. Moving on then. Then the sustaining ground has to be mind-like. It must possess intentionality. This is where we start to get into where you were alluding to, God.
Mm-hmm.
We're not quite there yet, but this is where it gets fun.
Well, I'm still seeing the gaps, but I'll let you continue, and then when you get to the end, I'll tell you where I see the gaps.
Go ahead and say your gap.
Well, you don't know any of that stuff for sure. Like it's a thing that you have come to the conclusion of, but you don't personally know that any of the stuff that we must accept, quote unquote, is correct. Like you don't know 100%. You don't know with any kind of certainty. You have to take it on faith that what you're saying is true by whatever logic we apply, not by some immutable law of the universe. Because I don't believe those exist, therefore I don't have to follow them, whether it's up there or not. I can choose not to believe in God.
You can choose.
Right. But if that law exists, if that immutable law exists in the universe, and at the end of the day, I gotta follow that law no matter what, and your point is that that law means that therefore God must exist, then I should not be able to choose to not believe in God. That should not be a choice I can make.
No, you can still choose.
I don't understand how that could ever be true.
Well, we're not there yet.
Okay.
Like, so far you've agreed with the steps as I've gone.
I've understood the concepts. I do not necessarily agree at every step of the way, but I understand what the concepts are that you're talking about.
Where did you disagree?
That was what I said. Is that I don't think that you or I can know anything absolutely. I think we're all going on some amount of faith here for, whether or not God exists. In the connection, because you've presented points and I understand them, but you aren't connecting them with a God, with a God that exists. So I'm looking for that, but that's where the gap is right now.
The gap that you are creating was filled earlier when you agreed in the sustaining ground that cannot be sustained by the self. That was the point in which there is no more uncertainty of the self allowing for the contingency of the self.
Right, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to create an inescapable line of logic.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Right, I know, and you said that from the beginning. I'm just saying that doesn't work. That's not... I can perceive anything I want. I can change whatever my perception is actively on the fly if I choose to, and I can choose not to believe in God.
Okay,
that's not an aspect of free will. That's just plain the sense of self.
Are you trying to say that the thing you are sitting on, right?
My chair?
Yeah, that you can force it out of existence right now.
Oh, I can. Maybe not completely out of existence, but I could if I wanted to.
Do it.
I got an axe in my backyard. I could just chop the fuck out of this thing until it's nothing but dust.
But that's still there.
I could then burn the remainder.
It just transforms into energy.
Right, we're all space dust. You're proving that God doesn't exist.
No, I'm not.
What?
No, so far I have proven that the clock is genuinely there.
You've proven that you believe a series of concepts that make it so that you've arranged in this theory that make it impossible for one to not believe in God.
I haven't quite gotten to that step.
Okay. Let's get there.
Okay. Couple more steps and then we're there.
All right.
But I mean, to move on, we have to like address where you're disagreeing, because from what I understood earlier, you agreed with every single important step that I elaborated on.
Okay, well then I misspoke. I understand the concept that you're laying out. I can't tell you whether I agree until you make your point, you know?
Is this recorded?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think you might go back and actually like listen to this discussion again?
I have to.
Okay. Okay. So the next step that I was trying to get to was that the thing that is sustaining the clock isn't just the clock, that it necessarily must be mind-like. So, and what I mean by that is that the normativity, the true and false, requires intentionality. Okay, and that intentionality is only initiated by minds.
How do you know that?
To say otherwise, then you say that non-minds ground normativity without contradiction.
How do you know they don't?
Because I am not the sustainer, because I am contingent.
How do you know you're contingent?
Because my memory is flawed.
How do you know your memory's flawed?
Because I know that I can't remember certain things.
And that proves what?
That proves that I am contingent.
On what?
That my perception is different than your perception.
Thus, the things you've come to believe might not be true.
Right.
Okay.
But,
including this inescapable logic.
Nah, not quite.
See, you're still that's a disconnect. Where are you saying, like, you say that you're contingent? Like, go back a step. You're contingent on what?
My perception and my brain.
How can you trust either of those?
You can't.
Right.
Right. But the thing is that true and falses exist.
How do you know?
Because to have any thought at all requires content.
How do you know?
Because to say otherwise, then there is no content.
Thought doesn't require content. I said otherwise.
Okay, there you go.
But how do you? But
okay,
how do you know? But how do you know any of that?
Okay, well,
I don't know that
hold
for
on.
sure.
Well, hold on. You said that thought doesn't require content. Let's go through that. Okay, so how can there be anything to think about if there is nothing?
Can you think of nothing?
No, you that's not what I'm getting at.
That's a pretty good argument.
You might think so.
You can absolutely think of nothing.
Hold on. But that nothing is still something that you're thinking about.
No, it's not. You can see on CAT scan, you can see like people's brainwave activity when they're in comas. Like, no, you can think of just straight up nothing. Nothing is not a concept. Nothing is not a physical, tangible concept. Nothing is just a lack of something. Nothing is a void where something doesn't exist. You can think. You can just clear your mind. You can just clear your mind and just think of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I'm not thinking of anything. My brain is on autopilot. I'm listening to you and I'm responding to you. I'm not actively thinking, well, let's break down what this guy just said until I do that, in real time. It's just autopilot. It's electrical signals.
Earlier, so there's two different things you're doing right now. Earlier you said, I can think about nothing,
mm-hmm.
right? And then you also said there's coma patients that are just not thinking about anything.
Right, their brains are still active. They can still, we have, with all known science, been able to determine that they can at least to some degree perceive the world around them.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're not thinking. Still blankness.
I mean, you don't know that. What do you don't even know the origin of thought. How do you know what forms a thought? You can't know. That's infinite regression.
You're having a little bit of a disconnect here. Let me try to restate it.
Are you saying conscious thought?
So you said, I can think about nothing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's still an act of thinking.
Right, this is infinite regression.
You're thinking about the content of nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Versus the versus being totally blank. There is no thought happening, period.
Okay.
Okay, so earlier my point was to think about something at all requires something.
Is that a universal truth?
Yes.
How do you know?
Yeah, it's law-like. It's imposed upon us.
Okay, how?
Otherwise, there is no thought.
I mean, you can disagree with that and still have thoughts, right?
You can disagree with that and still have disagree with what?
What I'm telling, or what I'm trying to understand here is why there's a gap in between me saying, if you're saying that universal laws exist, then I cannot choose to believe otherwise, because that's not a thing. That's not possible. It's just not possible.
You can choose to believe whatever you want. My point about laws is that you don't give consent, that they are no matter what.
Do you see how you're getting into semantics yourself here? Like, we're splitting infinitives and we're just we're splitting hairs and shit.
Yeah, that's philosophy for you. You got to get in the weeds.
Well, but that's what I said, that it's not applicable, really. Like, it's not helpful to the discussion of whether or not God exists, because I can conceptualize all day long, and I can come to a completely different conclusion than you by using the same lines of logic that you do. It's not, I don't have to, I am not required to abide by universal laws, which to me, my perception, how I live my everyday life, says that there are no universal laws. Like, other than the fact that, like, there's no way that I can prove that I'm not standing on the earth. I just have to kind of, like, believe that my perception is correct. It could be anything. It could be literally anything from, like, nothing to God, but everything in between.
But that's an assumption that you cannot prove that you're standing on Earth.
That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking if people can prove that God exists. And if I can argue against it when you cite immutable laws of logic, if I can say I don't agree with that, that's not a perception shift. That's not me arguing semantics or anything like that. That's your immutable laws of logic being mutable.
No, what you're doing is you're trying to deflate. You're trying to deflate the laws of logic. But again, what happens is you abandon that the world is intelligible while using intelligibility. It's a performative contradiction. That's why I just warned you that it is a trap.
Well, it doesn't sound like a trap so much as a cyclical argument.
Well, it's not. Everything
We're just going to keep going around and around if we keep going like that.
Okay, the conversation is cyclical.
That's your entire point here has been that there are things that exist that are concepts that we cannot argue against.
Right.
But that's not, you don't know that. And you don't know that they're there because of God.
You can know it.
Where do you, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I can tell you're getting frustrated.
I am getting frustrated that we haven't gotten to any proof that God exists. I'm trying to get to the meat here.
Yeah, technically I have proven, at least through the philosophy,
Right.
that
Through
the clock is
philosophy. Right.
genuinely there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't prove anything tangibly.
It leads to it though.
I mean, it doesn't. Am I questioning my atheism right now?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So let's just run through it real quick. So we were at that reality truly exists, that the clock is genuinely there, which leads to the sustaining ground necessarily has to be mind-like, and that's where the true and false requires intentionality. And the
If
reason
we
for
believe
that,
if we believe your premises, yes.
Hold on. The reason for that is that you cannot be the thing that grounds the true and false, because it sustains. Okay, and the way we can test that is through the law of non-contradiction. To deny a mind-like ground, you must let non-minds generate oughts like rocks, intentionality and logical necessity. But non-minds can't intend, they can't prescribe, they can't bind. So logic loses its normativity and will collapse. But you use logic to deny the thing that makes logic possible, which is the contradiction. And that leads to that the sustaining ground, the mind-like being, is necessary and not contingent. That's why I'm saying that it's necessary, because it's not contingent. And so the contradiction to that is, if the mind-like thing that is sustaining were contingent, then logic would lack necessary grounding. It couldn't be grounded. And so the modal necessity would collapse. Everything previously would not have any reason. It would just fall apart. The contradiction the contradiction test there would be that the mind-like thing the mind-like thing, hold on, let me just do plain language. So if the mind-like thing were contingent, then the laws of logic would also be contingent. But if you deny that logic is necessary, you have to use logic as necessary. The laws of logic hold for the denial to even make sense. You rely on the very necessity you deny. So that leads to God, what we understand God to be. Because and what I define as God is the necessary mind-like sustaining ground. So it's permanently sustaining. It's unchanging.
So he's not a guy.
Everywhere. It's everywhere.
So he's not a guy.
Well, I haven't gotten there yet. That's further too. I can go as far as showing you that this God shares the properties of Christianity, but I can't show you that it is 100% Christianity, because the fact is that history is contingent. We agreed on that earlier.
Well, let's hope it's not Christianity, because
otherwise you'll be judged.
They all about slavery. We don't like that in my circle.
Well, otherwise you'll be judged, right?
I mean, I guess if that happens to be the right God, you know.
Right.
Quote unquote.
So, the step that leads to God as necessary is that the necessity is a necessary mind-like sustaining ground of logic, which produces normativity, which is the truth maker, which provides content and intelligibility, is exactly what classical theism means by God. The contradiction would be to deny the existence of a necessary grounding mind, you must deny at least one of the earlier steps. But every earlier step is itself undeniable, because its denial destroys the possibility of thought, truth, logic. So denying God forces you to deny thinking, distinction, content, truth, logic. Which
right, the concepts of those
earlier
things
is a law.
in an argument.
Huh?
Right, the concept of those things in an argument, not the existence of them in the first place. I can say that I don't agree with you, but I'm not denying the fact that I'm thinking. I'm not denying the fact that I exist or my perception or whatever. I can just say I don't agree with that.
You can
So
say
I'm not
that.
conceding anything.
You can say these things, you can believe whatever, but in the argument, it is indubitable. Like it's true. It's literally truer than 2 + 2 = 4.
But you have no way of knowing that. You have to take it on faith.
I do, because under the premise
Because of
that
philosophy.
Because of what we perceive, like through
philosophy. Right.
Yeah, through philosophy.
Something that cannot be
way-
applied to everyday life.
No, we can apply it to everyday
Really?
life. Yeah.
Whose philosophical principle are you using when you tip at a restaurant?
It's how I feel. It's a worldview.
No. See, there you go. Come on, man. That's not based on philosophy. That's based on social impacts. That's based on how you were brought up. That's not based on any kind of philosophy.
It's epistemology. It's how I know things. It's how I know that giving a tip is something nice to do.
But you don't know that you are correct. You again, there could be a gas leak in your apartment, and you could just be saying whatever the first thing is that comes to mind. You don't know that whatever you're saying is correct. So
I do know.
Okay.
I know that
You
this
think you know.
argument. I know.
You think you know.
I mean, you can say these things, but it doesn't make them true.
Prove to me that reality is real.
I did earlier.
Can you prove it to me that reality is real? No, I mean you're trying to prove that God exists. So already it seems like maybe you're on the wrong path again. But you cannot prove that reality is real. You can only just say what you see and what you observe. We can use as much science as we know to determine as much as we can find out about whatever it is that's around us. But we cannot prove definitively, beyond the shadow of all doubt, that reality exists. To you, it's always got to come to God somehow.
I think it's funny that you argue for science and in the same breath try and deny this argument that I've laid out. Because
it's not, you're basing it on philosophy. So it's useful and it can be scientifically true, but in a discussion about philosophical concepts. That's not what I'm asking. That's not at all what I'm asking. I'm asking if you can prove to me that a tangible God exists.
Oh, I didn't say tangible.
Then what the fuck are we doing here?
Proving God.
That's not how you prove God. You prove God through measurable, observable means.
Yeah. So everything I've just laid out actually strengthens any empirical claim.
It's a philosophical concept. Okay, then sure. Then explain the Shroud of Turin to me. How does that artifact get, backed up by the lines of logic that you've introduced?
I don't know about that one.
Okay, how about Mount Ararat? Or Mount Sinai? The Mount Sinai was recently supposed to have been proven to be true. I don't know. I don't agree with it, but
that stuff I don't claim. I earlier granted that what we have in the Bible is something through philosophy I can't verify as proven. Everything else I did though is proven. Literally truer than math. Because math uses axioms. Math uses things that determine outcomes differently, formulas. Whereas this formula that I've used is unchanging. It's modal. It's like one leads to another.
Right.
Under law.
You can make a flow chart for how we get from point A to point B through taking point A1, A2, yada yada. We can make a flow chart to get from any point to another point anytime you want. And we can logic our way into whatever argument you want. But the problem is that it's, again, all philosophical. It's all stuff on a chalkboard. It's all conceptual. It's not provable. So I don't know. Gobekli Tepe? I don't know what that is. If you guys have links to stuff that you want me to check out, please feel free to put those. I don't think they're restricted. But let me know if they are. Gobekli Tepe. Tepe has drawings on it that tell the same revelations. World Economic Forum has stopped excavations, so we can't learn more about it. Yeah, there's always some restriction. There's always keeping us great Christians from, looking up all this stuff that we think exists. Or proves that these things existed. Strange how that always ends up being the thing. And, Halo, I don't know what you were thinking when you said that most scientists understand God exists. There's a good handful, but good Christians or good religious people can remove themselves from religion when conducting science. And I think wouldn't you think that if scientists could prove that God exists, they'd be shouting it from the mountaintops? I personally believe they would be. But then again, Christians tend to be really obsessed with persecution, so I don't know for sure. Maybe they would try to hide it. I don't know. TK, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm gonna grab some more water. So feel free to take your time if you need to. I'll be right back. Okay. They are, but you ignore them. They are what? Oh, shouting it from the mountaintops. No, they're not. Not any scientists that are respectable. Or not just speaking strictly from a place of religion. Fudge Christianity, we let them divide us. The Epstein files are the most important issue of our lives. Shit. We just can't escape it, can we? I agree. It's a pretty important thing. I mean, they've already been leaked a million times. I mean, we can probably even see the entirety of the unredacted files by this point. Wouldn't you think? Thanks, Halo. I appreciate it. Happy to be here. Happy to be on this earth, whether or not we can perceive that it exists logically. Very respectable, right? Why haven't they been published? Why aren't the news outlets going absolutely fucking crazy? You know that Christianity is one of the most prevalent religions on the entire globe, right? That like
I have to go.
Billions. Oh, that's fine. TK, if you can join us again, please feel free to do so. It seems like you had more to say.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could have went further. There's about 4 more steps, but
okay, then come back when you can.
I would love it if you listened back to the conversation and,
Sure. I have to anyway while I'm editing, so.
Okay.
And if I come up with any places where I saw myself take a misstep, I'll put it in the description.
Okay. All right.
But do join us again, okay, man?
Yeah.
All right, later. Have a good one. All right. As far as how long I'll be doing this, I could go till 2. It just depends on the liveliness of the chat. The livelier you guys are, then the more engaged I'll be. And we need public justice, though. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You're preaching to the choir, if I can make a play on words here, due to the theme of the stream. Well, I just burped a bunch, so I hope that's okay, partners. All right. So if you can prove God exists, I'm happy to hear it. So far, I'm not a believer, but that could change at any moment. I do have to pee. So that may be an issue that has to be resolved here in a second. They aren't going to give us the justice that we deserve the second they cover this up, the second they don't represent the American people. Well, I would say that... Oh yeah, no problem, Caspian. Have a good one, man. I appreciate you joining. Thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate every single one of you, even if you think I'm a filthy heretic. If you understand spiritual warfare, you'd know that Satan runs the earth, the tangible. You're going to have to prove that. If you're going to make that claim, you're going to have to prove that. So the reason you aren't hearing what respectable science say about God is because that would mean that billions of people haven't been able to unearth this lie. That would mean a conspiracy that spans the globe. That is, again, subject to any amount of leaks, subject to anyone dissenting or being converted to Christianity, right? Like, this isn't like the Jehovah's Witnesses. There aren't going to only be 144,000 of us left, Like, you got to substantiate that. Thank you, Starboy. I do appreciate the mass amounts of love that you've been delivering here last couple of days. It's been very refreshing. Very strange, but very refreshing. Yes, it is global. No, it's not. Again, you're going to have to prove any claim that you're making here, man. You're saying that there's a massive worldwide conspiracy when Christianity is the dominant religion of all the most powerful nations in the world. Come on, man. The guy who was on call spoke like a religious teacher, but his reliance on novel words wasn't helping make his points more digestible or easy to understand. Well, it's the concept. Like, we cannot determine whether something's real with a line of logic that we create through philosophical means, because we can make any point we want and justify it using any amount of logic that we want. It doesn't make it true, and it doesn't mean... You can say all day long that there are universal truths, but that I can choose to go against them. If you say that it's a universal truth that I can't not believe in God, I'd be believing in God. And that's not a product of free will. God could have also said, don't take slaves. But instead he said, you may take slaves from the lands around you, and they will be your property, and you can bequeath them to your sons and their sons. Like, come on. Just like the Epstein files is global. Jesus, dude. Oh, I would like, nothing more than our government to do its job. That would be really cool. Evangelicals, they'll love their enemies to death, especially if they think they can get away with it. No love like Christian love, am I right? Alright, let me pee, then we'll get to some more of these, whatchamacallums. Some more of these, reels, I think. Wanting actual justice for humanity demands siding with the left against religion. Fucking Christ. Just scared the shit out of myself. Whew. You laugh, but Epstein and Diddy trials opened my eyes to the spiritual warfare. Hi, I'm new here. What's your political identity? Come on, dude. I'm guessing he's not a leftist then. Marcus Joseph Odermatt is the Pope Peter for Roman Pedro III at Palmarian. Yes, Starboy. Yes, weird shit. More weird shit. Keep it going with the craziness. I love it. As far as my political party goes, I always describe myself as being far enough left that I'm just before you start throwing napalms through parliament windows. Not napalms, Molotovs. So hopefully that gives you some idea.
Someone asked me at a university one day, can you prove God exists? And I answered no.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Man? Can you prove that God exists?
I cannot put God in a test tube.
Right.
I cannot put God in a laboratory.
Correct.
And say, here's God. How do I know that God exists?
There's always some gap.
Seems to indicate that he does.
See, what evidence?
I look up in the starry sky.
Oh, you look at the sky.
There must be a God.
Okay.
I look at the beautiful nature round about me.
You look at the sky, you look at nature, and therefore God.
And I say there must be a God.
Okay. Why must there be? I'm gonna let my dogs out. Why must there be a God? Why must there? She needed to go outside. She just wanted some water. Ah, jeez. Ah, jeez. Oh, if only you really did send a $99 super chat. That would be so cool. My channel's not monetized, though, so you can't do that. Weird. I appreciate you answering. It looks like it sounds like you're fellow. Dude, if your name is literally Leninware AI, do you think that I'm going to think that you're here in good faith? Come on.
I see the birth of a baby. Gary
So you see nature, you see the sky, and you see birth.
Player was telling us yesterday how he saw the birth of his...
If there is no God, there is no purpose, so why do anything? That's completely incorrect, Halo. If there is no God, it just means there's no God. We still have friends and loved ones. We still have jobs and things that we want to do, in our lives. We still have drives. We still have core values. Do you honestly think that atheists, just kind of pop into existence? That we don't get raised by parents? That we don't... Because it's Leninware AI, man. I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that you're going to be a bot or something, I voted for Trump 3 times. Humanity re. Okay. I'm always happy to have a Marxist perspective. I actually don't know much about Marxist perspectives. So feel free to tune in next time. I don't know that we're ever going to have that nuanced of a political discussion. It's usually about current events. But it's typically Tuesdays that we do the... or Mondays that we do the political stuff. Then Tuesdays are for religious stuff. And... how do you think about it chatting? I don't know. They're pretty sophisticated these days. I told you. I said many times in the stream that I just don't really understand technology. I just use it. Atheists take Jesus' values and claim them for themselves. Like what? Christians, I mean... Okay. Okay. LOL, incomplete thought. Didn't mean to send. I'd be happy to come back Monday. Yeah, sure. We can talk about Marxist stuff. My name is Lena. Well, my name is TJ, as you can see on my somewhere. Well, it's Goose. That's not my name. I always say that Goose isn't my name, but I think people kind of assume that. You never know. You never know. Love each other, don't steal or hurt each other. Why do you think that everybody just stole and murdered before God was brought into the discussion? You know that there were several thousands of years before God was reported to have created the earth, right? If you're a young earth creationist. Thousands of years. Our oldest recorded manuscript is from something like 9,500 years ago. So it would be extremely arrogant to assume that Christianity was around before then, but it would also be factually incorrect. Sorry. And the Bible, the oldest transcript, the manuscript of the Bible that we have, which was still revised, was about 800 years ago. So, I don't know. Even then, Christianity, like, God wanted you to take slaves. God wanted you to conquer lands and take slaves. He himself did a genocide at least twice that I can remember reading. So I don't know. If God is real, I don't know that he's exactly the kind of thing that you want to, like, put your faith in. I would assume that we could just, like, you know, maybe not take slaves. Or if God was omnipresent and he could see through all of time and he can see through all of history, like people say he does, and if he's all good and all loving, he probably could have put "don't take slaves" in the commandments. He also probably could have, like, maybe snapped his fingers and made no PDF files, no grapists, and maybe stopped all the natural disasters that took all that innocent life. Unless you think, like, babies and small children are worshiping the devil somehow. Not really. You need to know what you're talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. I read the Bible. I read the Bible twice. I read the Bible twice, and gosh darn it, I still don't remember a single fucking passage. Because you don't know him, neither did you read the... I did. I read the Bible twice. Cover to cover. Read it. So I mean, I can quote your Bible to you if you'd like. If there's no evil, how can there be good? That's a really good question to ask yourself. Because we make up those concepts. It doesn't matter what version I read. You're talking about differences between single Hebrew words. Go fuck yourself. I'm not going to get that nuanced again. I read the New International, I think, whichever one you see on that Bible, the Bible website, whatever. I'm going to tell them not to eat shellfish, but we can't go too far and tell them not to own slaves. For real. In no version of the Bible does it say not to take slaves. I know that for sure. So how come you claim things that aren't part of the teachings? I'm taking this from the Bible. No, it's not small differences. It really is. Unless you're talking about the ones that actually are more condemning of things that you people do every day. Because then you're talking about translations that stuck to the Old Testament, or you're talking about translations that are more like Baptist, like Westboro Baptist Church style stuff. So it's either hate or old school punishments. Which ones do you prefer in your translations of the Bible? Funk Congress, I am not a Christian, I'm an atheist. You can quote the Bible, but you said you don't remember a word of it off the top of my head, but I can go to the Bible passages. You know that shit's all online, right? Like, we can just type in, like, for instance, here, watch, we can type in, it's so weird, right? That you can just prove it by going to the Bible. Watch. Bible verse. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, yep. You may take slaves from the land around you. Here we go, because I've already done it a number of times. Genesis 1, in King James verse says, heaven, later difference, a big difference. Not if the entire thing's made up. Read the complete thing. I did, twice. The Bible doesn't advocate slavery. It does. It acknowledges that we live... no, it was laying out laws for how to treat other people. Why are you an atheist? Because I don't have any convincing proof that God is real. Because he can't see God. You can't either. Yes, read the whole thing. I did, twice. Read the verses before it. I don't know what you're hoping to achieve. Because I have many, many times on stream before. But we can do that. Okay, when you enter the land, I'm going to give you, then he talks about the laws, or like the orders for 6 years, sow your fields. In the 7th year, talking about Jubilee, he's laying out what you're supposed to be doing in the Sabbath year. Whatever the land yields during the Sabbath will be food for you, for yourself, for your male and female servants, and the hired worker and temporary residents who live among you. Weird that they would make that distinction. As well for your livestock and wild animals of your land. Whatever land produces may be eaten. So talking about, you know, making the land healthy, right? When you life in a society where slavery exists, and the Bible tells you how to do it, hunan, is it the proof kamam? No, actually. It says, you may take slaves from the lands around you. Yes, God, for me to believe in God, it requires proof. That's the whole point. The whole point. So let me see, where does it actually say the passages? Talking about your fellow Israelites. Okay, so the passage before your male and female slaves. If any of your fellow Israelites become poor and sell themselves to you, do not make them work as slaves for your fellow Israelites. They are to be treated as hired workers or temporary residents among you. They are to work for you until the year of Jubilee, the 7th year. Then they and their children are to be released, and they go back to their own clans and their property of their ancestors, because the Israelites are my servants, whom I brought out of Egypt, and must not be sold as slaves. Do not rule over them ruthlessly, but fear your God. Nothing about non-fellow Hebrew or Israelites. The whole point of God is to have proof. No. The whole point of this stream is to have proof of God. So in order for me to believe in God, I'm asking for proof. So it's talking about until the year of Jubilee, your fellow Israelites can sell themselves to you as slaves, which, although a custom at the time, still pretty hinky. I mean, you're letting them go after 7 years, I guess. It's okay. But in order to have actual, like, slaves, because again, why do you need to make the distinction if it's not specifically different? Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and the members of their clans born in your country. They will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and make them slaves for life. But you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. So if you beat a slave with a rod and he gets back up after a few days, totally cool. But if you kill him, you got to pay a fine, I think. Not a good God, I'd say. Not a good God. The reason why it isn't so blatant is because that if that was so, then there would be no progress, no change. We wouldn't have free will to believe or not. Halo, you just missed everything I said. Why are you ignoring me? Jesus Christ has been around 2,000 years without being disproven or proven. And Jesus Christ is understood to actually have been a real person by most of the people who do this research. It doesn't matter, or it doesn't mean that he was God. Just because a person exists doesn't mean they can actually do magic. You're attributing something to a vaguely historical thing that is magic. So, I don't know. In the Old Testament, no punishment to the evil ones was hard enough. Okay, what evil ones? People who don't believe in God are evil. So you think that it's okay to enslave an entire people just because they don't agree with who you chose as your God? You know how many different denominations of Christianity there is? You can't believe that, because that would make you a fucking monster. God provides proof, I suppose. No, he doesn't. But only to a select few. Right, and you don't think that sounds a little shady? Potentially cultish? Or at the very least, in bad faith. God never called us to hurt one another. What? What? Aren't you talking about the same God who said that if a young woman doesn't bleed on her wedding night, that she must be stoned to death? And do you know how many women bleed on their wedding night? Their wedding night, their first time? About 40%. How many women do you think were sent off to be stoned based on God's lack of biology knowledge? I don't know, if we're to understand the Bible, probably quite a few. If there was a law made to, to outline it. He could have just said anything else, really. He could have just said not to kill someone just because they don't bleed for some reason. He could just not have a weird obsession with female genitals. Or male, too. Like, what's up with that? Why are you guys always so obsessed with penises and vajigis? Strange. Do you know that Jesus literally stopped everyone from stoning a prostitute? I'd love to see the historical account that you can back with any kind of real data. And again, Jesus existing doesn't mean he was the Son of God, and it certainly doesn't mean he was magical. I don't think you understand the point of God. You'll be okay, though. You have enough toys, tapes, and books to fulfill you. That's all actually my wife's. So, get fucked. I didn't mean that. And I do understand the point of God. The point of God, as invented by man, is to entrap people and to take a business partner that doesn't take a cut, who is ultimately credible, because you can't, apparently, disprove him. So that's the conclusion you have from reading twice the Bible. I mean, feel free. What conclusion? You gotta say what you're talking about, because I'm just reading chat messages here. So the God character never commanded harmful thing. Oh yeah, is slaughtering a people group and keeping the young virgins for yourself not harmful? Is that Samuel? Was that when King David? Was that when whoever's son went and raped all of the people on the roof, the concubines? God let that happen. He specifically ordered him to do that. Yes, you did. Yes, I did what? You specifically meant to tell me to. You specifically meant to tell me to get fucked. Oh. Yes, I did. Yeah. I just say that when I'm excited. But get fucked if you like that, and if you want to go get fucked, then go get fucked. More power to you. Oh no, I don't like this music. Oh no, it is. It's still music to cast spells. And then you try to walk it back. I'm very sorry that I told you to go fuck yourself. God ordered grape. What are you on? Yeah, what's you calling it? Helmet, can you remind me where that was? Okay, bye, Funk Congress. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Bye-bye. King took concubine. How do you spell concubines? Concubines to roof of temple. I don't want to type that word in. How do you get around that on a Google search? How do you say grape? I mean, I guess I'm really only resisting doing it because I don't want YouTube to see that. So I'm conflating the two. See, I told you, that's how much about technology I know. Oh, let's see. Ahithophel. When David had gone a short distance beyond the summit, there was Zeba, the steward of Mephisabeth, chef, waiting to meet him. He had a string of donkey saddle loaded with 200 loaves of bread, 100 cakes of raisins. God damn, so fucking dense. Should make curses. David. Here we go. Okay. Absalom said to Ahithophel, "Give us your advice. What should we do?" Right? Because Ahithophel is speaking, I believe, on behalf of God? I want to make sure that that is correct. Can anyone confirm that Ahithophel was speaking for God? Give us your advice. What should we do? Ahithophel answered, "Sleep with your father's concubines, whom he left to take care of the palace. Then all Israel will hear that you've made yourself obnoxious to your father, and the hands of everyone with you will be more resolute." So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and he slept with his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. Cash on video support. Heart emoji. I agree. I think I agree. Now in those days, the advice Ahithophel gave was like that of one who inquires of God. And now in those days, the advice gave was like that of one who inquires of God. So like a prophet. So he was giving God's words. That was how both David and Absalom regarded all of Ahithophel's advice. Well, there you go. So either he was a representative of God or he was just lying through his teeth. But it's here in the Bible. And it seems that it worked out well for David. So, I don't know. Kind of a crazy document, the Bible. And I feel like if you Christians actually read it sometime, you might come to the same conclusion I have.
His last child. And he said, as I watched that, I knew that there had to be a God.
Right, so he saw the sky, he saw nature, he saw a birth, and therefore he concluded God.
There's another reason. Deep in your heart, you have a conscience. And your conscience tells you there must be a God.
Ah, yes, the old right and wrong argument. Well, too bad that we don't already, or too bad that we observe social dynamics in chimpanzees. Otherwise, maybe, we wouldn't know so much about social dynamics and how things like sociology came about. I don't know. It wasn't the Amaleks. Taking the young versions is the numbers 31:17 to 18. It's hard to keep all the mythology straight. Yep. It's so dense. It is so dense. I get why people don't read it. Like, I get why Christians don't read that book. Because A, they feel like if they go to church every Sunday and they keep saying, "Oh, Jesus loves you," and all that kind of stuff, that it's as good as reading the Bible. And I think that if they're really fundamental, if they really adhere to all this stuff, then they're probably so convinced that their faith will cover any gaps that they just don't need to read the Bible. Like, it's a holy document, therefore it's going to fill them with the love of God, and they won't have to worry about any kind of justifying or substantiating or anything like that. It's all just going to make sense because, well, it was written by God. Someone actually tried to tell me the other day that most Christians don't believe that the Bible is that it's not like written like as a holy text. And I was like, why do so many people believe in it then? If you guys know it was written by people and people can lie, I assume that what they meant was that it was written by people but with like divine inspiration. But they didn't say that. They said they said something that made even less sense.
Non-biblical proof of Jesus' existence.
Okay, this is what I was waiting for. I bet you it's probably going to be a philosophical argument. God damn it. Well, let's hear it anyway.
Roman historian Tacitus had no sympathy for Christians, but his writings from 116 AD mention
Christus put to death by Pontius Pilate.
Again, 1,000 people could say something, that doesn't mean it's true. 1,000,000 people could say something, that doesn't mean it's true. How many, is it Hindus? How many Hindu people take baths in the Ganges every day, knowing that it's a river full of corpses and trash, still because it reinforces their faith? Like, it doesn't mean that it's anything. Instagram has live streams. Thanks for the engagement anywhere. Kuri Rabani. Celsus. It is too convoluted for it to be true. It also contradicts itself a few times. And thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. Just because someone says something doesn't mean it's true.
Jewish scholar Flavius Josephus also mentioned Jesus.
And as far as I remember, when you're going to be crucified, you are then anointed. Like they bathe you, and as far as I remember, I might be incorrect on that, but I believe that you are washed and anointed with oils and shit like that, and then you get strung up on a cross.
In 93 AD, Flavius wrote a history of his era. A passage says,
"Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, if it be lawful to call him a man, for he was a doer of wonderful works."
One of the oldest images of Jesus comes from a graffito. The image was a joke left by a non-Christian. It shows a crucified man with the head of a donkey, but it proves that Jesus was a recognized figure.
Right. So, again, I hate to spoil it for you guys, but even if there really was a guy named Jesus, even if a bunch of people followed him and a bunch of people believed that he was the Son of God, even if it was millions of people, even if it was hundreds of millions of people, none of that means, even if there was a book written about him that transcended centuries, that still doesn't mean he was the Son of God. You can pile up, it's like, did you ever see the Chappelle Show with the R. Kelly P tape? Tell me you guys have seen that. Please tell me you guys have seen that. If not, you need to go watch Chappelle's Show. I don't know how you're going to see it, because I don't know where it's streaming, but you need to see that sketch. So he's sitting there in a courtroom and he's testifying because I guess he was a witness or something. He was like a janitor or something like that. He was sweeping up while R. Kelly was hosting a party, and it was during the infamous P tape. And the guy's like, "Did you watch that tape?" And Chappelle's like, and the guy's like, "Can you answer, please?" And the judge like is the same. He's like, and Chappelle's like, yeah, I watch it. Like, of course I watched it. Didn't you watch it? And then the lawyer, like, I think he like kind of nods offhandedly, and then the stenographer nods, and then the prosecuting lawyer nods. So apparently everybody had seen this tape, and he was like, "Can you identify the victim?" And he was like, "Yeah," or he's like, "It looks like this person." It's been a while since I've seen it, but they go back and forth, and basically the lawyer's trying to get him to say that he knew that it was R. Kelly on the tape, that he knew that the girl on the tape was underage, and that he knew that they were doing like acts for the purpose of sexual gratification or whatever, like just all that baseline stuff, and he just wouldn't commit to any of it. And he's like, maybe if I had like her government ID, and I had like her, it's got to say her height, hair color, and birth date, and I got to see 2 other forms of ID. I got to have her grandma there encouraging her, like, cheering her on. Or no, I got to have R. Kelly's grandmama there, because I don't know what was him. How do you know what his dick looked like? It was so good. Like, it doesn't matter how much proof that you give someone, that doesn't mean that the thing that you're trying to assert is true. So even if Jesus existed, even if he really was crucified, even if he really was seen as a prophet at the time, even if he was worshipped by people, even if he was worshipped by half the world, it still doesn't mean beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was the Son of God or that he was in any way magical. You can't. That's the inescapable logic. The lack of proof. Like, he could have just been a snake oil salesman, just doing some fucking like tavern magic tricks. I know how to turn wine into water, or water into wine. It's a bar trick. You ever done it? You sit a wine glass on top of another wine glass, separated with either a piece of cash or acetate film or something, and one has water in it, the other has wine in it, and I forget which is heavier. The thing that's heavy, as you pull the thing out, the thing that's heavier exchanges with the thing that's not heavier, thus turning water into wine. And you can like go like, and have like 2, and it'll taste like wine, and it'll still kind of get you drunk. So it's literally one of the miracles that Jesus did that you can easily reproduce. Loaves to fishes, I don't know. Walking on water, people keep reproducing that over and over and over again. You just put something clear. Maybe there was like some ice. I don't know. Could have been a particularly cold winter. I don't know. Bottom line is, if I can reproduce those things, then I don't have to trust that even a guy that millions of people followed was the true Son of God. It's such a leap. That's such a big leap. You don't have to do that. God is not the answer for anything. You can attribute failures to yourself. You can attribute successes to yourself. You can attribute all manner of different things to yourself without destroying whatever concept you might have of God. In Luke, it says that the kingdom of God is in man. Very easy to just understand your relationship with whatever God you choose to believe in and not have to trust or believe the Bible or trust or believe in any kind of sub-deity like Jesus or apostles or whatever. You don't have to believe any of that stuff. And you can throw out the Bible if you'd like. You don't have to believe in a text that encourages you to take slaves, that doesn't denounce grape or the PDF files, you know, like, you don't have to follow that. And that doesn't mean to go follow something else. That means develop your own set of beliefs. That might be more helpful to the world than going around saying that either you believe in God or you're going to hell. Those are your only two options. Either believe in God or go to hell. You got free will. You can choose to do whatever you want. But if you don't believe in God, you're going to go to hell. And when the fight comes, I'll be on the side that's going to try and impale you with a flaming sword or whatever. That's what they're saying. No love like Christian love, right? Or no hate like Christian love. Come on, camera. This is such an old camera. I really need to just use my phone. It doesn't like focusing. All right, well. Chat's dying down, and it's time to cut the stream off for the day. So it's a good time here to... oh, hey, Helmet, I got to head out too. So have a good one, man. Thank you guys so much. Please do the thing. Do the subscribe thing if you stayed, if you find any of this entertaining or at least fun to laugh at or to get angry at or whatever. I welcome all points of view. So feel free to join us again. Monday is the next day we're streaming. And that's going to be the political day. So if you like to talk about politics, I know everyone does, then hit subscribe, please. I really